Welcome to Latest Show. I'm your host, Prophet74. Today we're gonna talk about the MSI. It's a great machine. It's a GT73Vr Titan. It is a monster. It's a freaking heavy duty machine, but it does the job. Now let me talk a little bit more about this machine. All right, we're not gonna do any specs on how it runs because everybody could get those stuff exactly on the website. You could go anywhere. I like to open the machines and talk a little bit more on the components inside, what you're getting, what you're really buying. Because obviously when you purchase these machines, you've done your homework, you know. Now, do you know what's under the hood? So I like to start by opening these machines under the hood. You know, let's see what's under the hood. That's where we go. Not the hood, my neighborhood, but the hood underneath this hood, all right? So first of all, we're gonna talk about a little bit about the machine on the outside and a little bit more of the keyboard components. So the machine is huge. I'm gonna put the specs in here so you guys can check them out, how big the specs are. All the specs are built in this system, and not only that, how big is the screen you're gonna talk about. So it's a huge screen. I mean, it has awesome audio and audio and video quality on this system. The video camera is pretty good. The audio is one of the best ones I've seen. You know, it's by Steel Series. I mean, if they make the headsets, they make great components too. So on top of that, it's heavy. It's almost close to more than 10 pounds. Of course, you know, this sucker is really heavy. I'll put the exactly how much pounds, how much is the weight, you know, on top of it. You know, it has an NVIDIA 1070 video card. Now when you say 1070, it is freaking thick. It is a thick component. You know, look at my finger. I'm gonna put two fingers in here just so you can see how thick it is. Almost 2 fingers long. You know, that is crazy machine. But it has to be that crazy to take in that much air for the heat that accumulates in here, because the video card, it's a desktop video card that we're talking about, you know, 1070, but they're getting slimmer and better, and now this is built in the actual motherboard, and the MSI has a contract where they're having to built in their components in the motherboard now. Now, on top of that, it has these 2 ventilations here for the radiator, all right? Now, I didn't like the power cord. It has a 3 dial power connection. It's like a very unique, so if you break it, you're gonna have to buy from them. You know, it's not gonna be something that you could just buy it anywhere or go to your Best Buy or anywhere. I mean, this is a really 4 point connection. It's very difficult to find these, so this power, you're gonna have to order from MSI only, or you can probably find it at Amazon and other websites, but I'm not quite sure where you can find it. Just, you know, look at the manual or call technical support if you need something like that. Now on top of it, it has a actual NIC card in here embedded. You know, NIC card's never gonna away for the internet. You always have the wire. It's faster than wireless. All right. For now, DisplayPort, it has your Thunderbolt DisplayPort right here. It has a Type C. USB Type-C connection, and on top of it there's a HDMI connection on it on the back, and of course the power right here in the back. All the intakes are right here. There's 2 intakes here, and there's 2 additional ones on the side of it that when I'm opening it up, I'm going to show you exactly what you get. Now here on the side of it, you can't see them very good, but there's a couple of ventilation parts of it, and I'm going to see if I could take a picture and get it closer. Now on top of it, there is an SD memory card slot. There's 2 USB slots for 3.0 slots right here, USB 3.0. And on the other side, you got your components, your audio, additional mics, additional speakers, additional inputs for audio. This is a very professional audio system. It's from Steel Series, and they come out with the video card and the audio card that's built in the motherboard, and this is also built in the motherboard. So it's a great component. I've never seen so many inputs for audio in the system, and there's 3 3.0 USBs on it. That's super crazy, man. And on top of that, it looks very slick. It looks like a Batmobile from the back of it. Look at that, the old Batmobile, the where Wes was the actual Batman back in the days. Look at that. It looks like exactly like his Batmobile from the back or the front. On top of that, it's a very heavy duty machine. It's all aluminum base on the top, and it's plastic on the bottom. So aluminum on the top, plastic on the bottom. The components on this are very heavy duty. They're made for a VR. I mean, it's VR ready. It could play any video game out there, pretty much out there with 1070 video card. It's really good. I've been playing PUBG with this one. I've been doing VR, a lot of VR with this one. You can actually record, play the games at the same time. You won't see that much lag on it. I mean, other than the video, the camera here, it's a little bit like, you know, not the top of the line, but they never are made to be the top of the line. It's only made for conferencing and stuff like that. So I would use another camera instead of using the internal one, unless you're gonna stream. If you're gonna stream, go ahead and use this one. You know, you don't need to buy expensive ass cameras. You know, this is pretty good. Now we're gonna compare it. We're gonna compare it with a MacBook Pro. All right. So you guys, if you guys own a MacBook Pro, you can actually see the sizes of it. So this is pretty much a MacBook Pro, size of a MacBook Pro. It's huge. I mean, now if you want to do comparisons on the side of it, I'm gonna do that. Look at that, how thick it is compared to a MacBook Pro. It is huge. That's what she said. It is a huge component on here. This machine is made to be played with games and VR. It's not made for a homework assignment or carrying around, or, you know, it's a big component to be moving around. You know, it's heavy duty. Backpack, you need a special backpack for this one, you know, a little larger backpack. If I would buy this one or the Alienware, I would consider probably getting this one after looking at what's in the hood, man. There's a lot of great things you can do. Now, it is up to you what you want and what you want to get, but if you're looking for a great laptop to be gaming out there, this is a good thing to do. Well, we're gonna open this machine up, and it's a little dirty, it's dusty, it's been used quite a bit. Now, first we're going to start with the 32 gigs memory that's embedded right in the center of it. It's right in the middle of everything. I kind of don't like the memory being too close to the CPU, because all the heat accumulating from the CPU might leak over to the actual memory. So one thing I don't like about this system is it's too close to it, but it does its job. This machine, it's a 1070 video card. It's VR ready. It's capable of handling any computer game out there right now, pretty much. Now the fans are the biggest things in here. The fans are probably like 2 inches thick, and the system is almost more than 2 inches thick. I'll put the specs on it, but it's pretty good because this is a GPU. It's not the CPU. The CPU is right here. The GPU is right here. It's the biggest thing that's taking over the MSI card here itself. It's one of those great systems that, but the bulkiness of it doesn't have my top pick of all the systems here because of the bulkiness, you know. But overall, the machine is really good. Let's start out with the other parts of it, right? Underneath here, like I said, it's the video card. This is removed by a couple screws, 2 screws here on the top of here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You remove this part, but then you have to remove more components to actually get into the GPU. But don't recommend you with the GPU at all to mess with it. I mean, you don't need to. Now, just to let you know, this is copper, but it's coated in black, some black color. So the copper is protective for moisture and other things. Now the copper touches one of the systems here, which is the radiator. It's on one end, and this fan generates so much air that it radiates the coldness of it, and it goes through one end. So there's 2 parts of the GPU that needs to be covered. On a GPU card, there's a couple of components that need to be covered, especially the CPU of the GPU and the memory of the GPU. Now this is probably the memory part, and this is the main part where it's getting the GPU CPU. Now on this one, they cast 2 different sides where it's going to get its coolness from. So it cools down from 2 directions. This one has actually 2 radiators, and so does the other one. It has a radiator in the here and then a radiator here. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. So there's a radiator built in here, but you can't see it because it's protected by the actual vents. The vents in top shows you the actual radiator in this part right here. 1 radiator, 2 radiators, and then there's 3, 4. There's 4 radiators. These 2 right here are radiators that are actually cooling the whole system. These 2 take intake air. 1 takes intake out, and then it cools the whole system. This one is also cooling now the GPU, not just the GPU, but also the CPU. Now On top of this, there is a radiator that's protecting one of the hard drives in here, and this hard drive is right in the center of everything right here. I wish I could remove this part of it. Let me see if I could remove some of it, so we could get a little bit more in depth into the what's under that hood, what's running on the on the hard drive, what's holding the hard drive. So we're gonna remove this part. So this is a brilliant part of this is thermal paste tape that's protecting two of the hard drives. So let's take you back into the hard drive in here. So in this part, let me see if I can zoom in some more and move the camera a little bit. Okay, on this part, it's pretty brilliant. Hold on, here we go. This part right here is pretty brilliant how it's protecting the hard drive. So I was actually looking for another slot for the M.2, but it was underneath the same pattern where the actual hard drive is, the 2.3 hard drive is embedded. Now on here, there's 3 slots for 3 M.2s, which is great. So let me demonstrate. Let me demonstrate M.2. This is an M.2. I'm gonna take it out here. So there's 3 slots for 3 M.2s. 1, 2, and then 3 here. So 3 M.2 fit perfectly fine, and they even come with the screw in here. This system is one of the unique systems. I've never seen something like this before, where 3 slots are capable of handling 3 different places for the M.2. So remember, 1, 2, and then 3 if you want to add more hard drives to it. Underneath of it is a 2.3 mechanical drive underneath of it. So right underneath, it's around 2 terabytes on there. Yeah. This is hosting a 512 hard drive, M.2, and underneath a 2 terabyte. But this is a great slot. It has 2 additional slots for 2.M2s, 2 of them. This is I've never seen a motherboard hosting 2 different types of M.2. More than 3. I've only seen 2, of course, on motherboards, but this is unique where it has 2 slots in here to fit in 2 of these suckers, which is great, you know, because anytime the chips get cheaper and they get larger, you want to maybe upgrade them. This is great. This system is unique. Now the battery itself is pretty protected, but it's replaceable. Let me zoom out again so you guys can see a little bit. The battery is replaceable. It's a huge battery. You would have to disconnect this part of it, this end of it first. You're gonna have to take it off, and there's paste underneath of it. So you got to be careful when you pull it out that it's taped underneath the battery. I'm not gonna remove the battery because it was very difficult. Because when you remove the battery, you have to tilt it back up and then put it out. It's like almost similar to a memory, but because it's hitting on this slot, and I don't want to end up removing other stuff. Now, on top of this stuff is let me talk to you about a little bit about the actual audio. The audio is really good on this part of it. They're huge audio speakers that it has on the bottom, and not only it has 2 of them on this side and 2 on this slot. So 1 here, 2, and then there's another one here on the other end right here, which is great. Now on top of this whole system, there is the NIC card for the wireless device. This is a little tiny little on top of it, it gives you a lot of different details where you have to remove a lot of screws to get to the motherboard, because to get to a motherboard, it's not easy. You have to remove pretty much the skin, the outer skin, to remove the actual, to get access to the motherboard. So if you spill any water or anything, it's going to be hard to obtain the access to the motherboard. It's not going to be a simple task. I mean, there's videos out there and there's manuals out there, but before you continue and commence anything, please check your manuals to commence to the next part of it. Now, this system has been utilized a lot in VR. So it's recording, it's running, it's running on its course to where it's running the hardware and the software at the same time recording. It could do everything. This could be a great streaming machine. And if you want to add additional hard drives, the M.2s, I mean, you got the space. You could continue. Plus, underneath the mechanical drive underneath that you can always upgrade itself too. So there is no slot for another one in here, even though they have space. There's no connections to it. This is the only part that you're gonna see on this part of it. And I freaking was very shocked when I opened it up and saw that there was actually 2 more slots of this. This is something unique. I mean, I've never seen 3 slots. Like I said, I'm still shocked. There's one here that you're gonna tighten down here. I'm just demonstrating this is the where the actual OS is running from, and here's another one right here. And now the memory slots, there's only 2 memory slots in this part of it. There's no other additional hard slots for any drives. So right now we're running 16 and 16 to make it the 32 gig hard drive. Memory, 32 gigs of memory. And on top of this, it's very easy to access this panel. You remove a couple of screws and then you're pretty much set.